Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Saddleback Pod. Today we have, new into the, well, not really new into the entrepreneurship journey, but next project probably, more or less. We have Matt and Lynn of Copper Moon, a new, I'm just going to say venue. I'll let you get into exactly what you're looking for as far as people, groups, organizations that you're looking for to attend. They're operating in Old Town Lansing, and I'll let them kind of get into a little bit more of who they are, the space, and how this all came to be.
Well, Matt and I own WED, so we've actually been in the wedding industry for over 20 years. So We've been doing weddings for quite a long time. And we've been somewhat popular, but we keep driving all over the state, and we're getting very tired of driving all over the state.
When you say you're doing weddings, are you talking about consulting? Are you talking?
So I'm a wedding planner.
Okay.
And Matt is a DJ, and we also do decor and florals and photo booth.
Okay.
So we actually are kind of diversified. Matt's actually also an officiant as well, so he can actually marry people.
Yeah, we basically do we basically do everything but feed you and take your picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of do. The photo booth is a little bit of that.
Exactly. So.
Yeah. So while we love the work, we just driving back at 3 a.m. was just getting to be too much, and it was just a natural progression to look for a venue where we can have a lot more control over the client experience and making sure things are going the way that we would like to see them go, because we've worked in so many venues and we've questioned a lot of approaches to how some of them deal with clients. We're like, why are you being so strict about some of these things? So we're pretty excited to make a very flexible, engaging experience for them.
So I know through our conversations in the past, this has been a long process as far as looking for venues. I know we've talked about places all across mid-Michigan that have been considered places where a wedding venue could sustain. I know there's barns, there's industrial spaces. Tell us about the space that you've finalized here, why it was such a draw, why it struck your interest, and all the good things.
Well, we really didn't want to do a barn because there's a lot of them. So we wanted to do something completely different. The space we ended up with is the old Spiral building in Old Town. We liked the fact that it was in Old Town. Loved the fact that it has all the natural brick, and to be honest, it's got a 30 car parking lot in Old Town. So I mean, that's huge right there. So
Yeah, it's a super cool building in a super cool neighborhood. So we absolutely love Old Town.
Yeah, Old Town Marquee used to be there, so you already have kind of that. I don't want to. There's already that reputation that events were held down here to some degree.
Right.
If I recall, the photo opportunities down there are amazing.
They really are.
So that's a huge draw with the river there, with obviously all the architecture, train tracks, things like that.
the graffiti. There's
Graffiti.
some really
Artwork,
cool graffiti down there.
Alleyways are just, they seem like I could just see a bride walking through that area and being like, this is where we're getting married. I mean, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I mean, we're actually right on the train tracks. We're right next, and photographers love train track photos too.
We've got a deal set up with the Turner Dodge House to do outdoor ceremonies there, because we don't have the access to outdoor ceremonies in our space because our lot is pretty much all taken up by parking lot building and stuff like that. So we reached out to Turner Dodge House, and so we have a way to set up to do a ceremony there, and the bride and groom get access to the whole mansion for, I think it's 4 hours.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And they can book it directly through us. So, yeah.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah, and we'll set up all the chairs and all of the decor and everything, and set it up, break it down. So everything is still just through us.
How long have you been eyeing the Spiral building? I know that had been out there for a while.
Well, overall, many, many, many years since it's been closed, we would drive by it and go, oh, that would be really cool to get that space, but there's no way. We just didn't think we could get in there, honestly. And then we just started looking around, and our realtor, who is awesome, started showing us a bunch
pitch
of
'em?
spaces. Yeah, absolutely. Matt Wisnowski
Yeah.
with Remax.
Yep.
He's just awesome.
Yeah.
And he was so patient with us and took us to all of these places. And we thought we had found a space, and then that one didn't work out. And then he was like, well, wait a second. What about the Spiral building? And I'm like, really? Is it even really for sale? I didn't really see much activity on it. So we went and looked at that and, yeah, fell in love with it. So
Let's go. I mean, I haven't, in my younger days, they would have a teen night, and I would go to that, and I'd sneak the bracelet on, and then the next thing you know, I have a dandy of a time. But I haven't been there in a long time. I think right when Saddleback had opened, we might have did like a joint event to some degree. Might have been a Pride weekend or something like that. So walk me through the space. I know this is going to be hard, but just for our listeners, as far as a visualization, I've seen kind of some renderings of things that you're trying to, that you're thinking about doing, but just kind of paint a picture for me.
Well, as you walk up, we're going to have flower boxes on either side. So for fresh flowers, outside we're hanging a chandelier. And then as you walk inside, there was the odd shaped walls, and those have all been cut down to half walls. So as you walk in, you can see the entire space. So straight ahead, we're having a bride's ready room, and then with kind of a VIP lounge, which
brides or grooms,
brides
ready
or grooms,
room.
a ready room for one of the couple, and then down at the very end we have the bar, and then other than that, it's just complete open space.
Okay.
So you can move tables in any way we need to, and
if I recall, like the bar was on one side, and then wasn't there like a wall kind of dividing the dance floor and the bar space?
yes, and that's still there.
Okay.
And
Sort of. We're removing the window that you could see from the one room into the other room. That window's coming out. We're putting in a railing and a small set of steps to open up the space more.
Gotcha. Okay.
We originally had thought about trying to take out that wall and making it all one room, and maybe that's something we do down the road. But over the many years of doing weddings, we've seen one consistent thing, and that is you've got a few different groups at a wedding or an event. You've got the younger group that wants to go party and wants the loud music and everything. And then you've got your older generation who wants to sit and talk to their cousin who they haven't seen in 5 years. And so by separating the spaces, we're able to give little pockets of somewhat just a bit quieter space for them to be able to interact. And then we're actually going to be projecting the images of the dance floor onto this very large spot over the open wall. So they'll still be able to either see through the space or actually see the video above. So they're still going to be very connected to everything going on, but they're going to be able to have those two different spaces that will accommodate those conflicting interests sometimes. Because Matt hears it a lot. Can you turn the music down? We're trying to talk. But they're trying to party. So
trying to figure out which group I fall in. Am I going to be the person that's partying or
and it
that middle
depends.
zone
Sometimes you're both in one night. It
Like-
just depends on who you're trying to talk to and what you're trying to do. So. And then there's also the little courtyard outside,
Oh,
which
yeah, I
is
forgot about
great.
that.
And it's got the gas fire pit, and we're able to make a really, really pretty cocktail hour out there. And we're filling it with thousands of white lights, and it's
we're
just
going to wrap all the
be
trees in white
fabulous.
lights.
So you have all this experience in weddings, all from music to literally leading the wedding to the chair setup. What are you still taking on every aspect of it, or are things that you have in your arsenal, but you're not really pushing that forward? You're going to want to kind of supplement that out to somebody, or are you really pretty much a start to finish wedding venue?
We're trying to be a start to finish wedding venue.
Okay.
We plan on like the decor. We're not going to let another professional decorator come in, but if you want to DIY it yourself, that's fine.
Okay.
One note on that though is we are doing something that only a handful of venues that I know of do, which is we're letting people bring their decor over earlier in the week, and we will actually set it up for them and break it down for them that night. So they don't have to worry about trying to orchestrate that stuff
so
themselves.
Friday weddings happen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
It used to be,
Sunday.
especially
set up.
since COVID.
Okay. That's a huge win, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So those Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you could be back to back to back. I mean,
That's the hope.
we must be.
Yeah.
So outside of weddings, are you taking on other style events?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're gonna do some of our own events. Like we're thinking next Valentine's, we're gonna do some kind of a Valentine's Day dance.
Okay.
I want to do a Halloween party in November. So
No.
I know that's crazy.
That's weird.
I know, but when I've done it on and off over the years through my steampunk groups,
Okay.
and so we're gonna and we've always moved around to different places. So now I have a space to do it. I can decorate for a whole week, and I can make it look really cool. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
And one of the best things about that is the 12-foot skeleton that was outside your shop in Grand Ledge that then moved to the mall fits inside the venue. So we can
gosh.
put the 12-foot skeleton up in there.
So, what's the capacity of the venue? What is your ideal customer? What are they looking at as far as occupancy and
Well, depending on the nature of the event, because we'll do corporate events and other types of events as well. So if somebody's looking more for a cocktail party, you don't have to have as much seating. But for seated, we're capping it at 200 because
Okay.
that's just what will fit comfortably.
That seems like a good number.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
At least on the catering side, it seems like once you kind of cross that 200 threshold, things start to get a little weird. It's
Yeah.
a little bit longer to get through things.
Mhm.
Just a lot more kind of organization.
And honestly, once you get over 200, then you are dealing with somebody who's invited every person they know and have met. So
Yeah.
200 is usually that's friends and family and that kind of stuff. So
Or even if it's for corporate or business meetings. We just got an inquiry from somebody who wants to come see the space, but I'm thinking her numbers might be just a bit too high. I'm happy to show it to her, but I referred her to somebody else in the industry that I know really well who has a great space that will actually fit her event
Okay.
really well. So we're excited to be part of the whole local network and just contribute to it. There's definitely a lack of city venues in Lansing when you compare it to Grand Rapids and Detroit.
Yes.
As a wedding planner, I was constantly working with these brides who were always looking for Grand Rapids and Detroit, even if they live local,
Mhm.
because there wasn't anything that really fit their needs here,
Yep.
And so having that industrial space with the air conditioning and the heat and the ability to do an inside ceremony or an outside ceremony, all of these things are just hitting all of the main points. And so we're able to do that, and that's great. The barn venues are still a very popular option for many, but I'm seeing it's kind of swinging back. A lot of people have gone to barn weddings lately, and they've experienced the bugs or the lack of air conditioning and that sort of thing. So
Porta potties.
so there's more demand I'm seeing from clients who are still approaching me as a wedding planner who are like, I don't want a barn venue. I hear that all the time now.
Industrial chic is kind of the
Very
where
much
we're
so,
at.
yeah.
totally. Yeah.
Very much
Buzzwords.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people don't want. I mean, if you're not going to do a barn, then you have the hotel, and a lot of people don't want to do a hotel, and a lot of people don't want to do the golf course. So we kind of hit that spot.
But there's a lot of great things about hotel venues and golf
Absolutely,
course
absolutely,
venues
absolutely.
as well. I'm not trying to diss anyone in the industry. It's just there's a niche that's being underserved, and that's what we hope to be able to hit.
I also think, having more hotel options is going to be a big thing. Like it used to be, if you were downtown, it was like the Radisson was it, and I think that's
Right.
now
Doubletree.
Doubletree.
Mhm.
So, if you were looking at formerly Old Town Marquee type of thing, like that was really it. You weren't.
It's true.
So now, like that, there's a couple other places that could probably help for that attractive side of. Well, no, we can put them down the road a little bit or scatter some people around. I think that should be a big benefit, and kudos to Lansing for pulling that off.
Mhm.
So did the venue come with an liquor license?
It does. We're in the middle of that's a whole new process for us, and we've been doing weddings and events for a long time, but we've not had a venue before. So The liquor license is there, and it's part of the deal, and we're in the process of applying and trying to get
Finishing
all
that
of
out.
that.
Okay,
yeah.
so somebody that's coming from the outside in is going to have to partake with.
At some point.
Yep.
Or
Okay.
right now, they are allowed to bring in their own alcohol with a
Okay.
signed waiver and insurance.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, if you booked a wedding for next week, then you could bring your own alcohol in.
Shotgun wedding.
Yeah.
It's quite a jump there.
I've planned a wedding in
Really?
less than a week.
Yeah, we
Yes,
done
I
it
have.
But I mean, if you're going over a year, then it might, things might change.
Yep. So kind of be one of those. As of right now, this is allowed, but once we get our fulfilled license, we're going to have to look things over. This is what I would expect, type of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, my attorney's working out all the language for the contracts.
Good. I mean, booze is a whole different ballgame. I mean,
Yeah.
So talk to me about staff. It seems like that would be, you're going to have some sort of management or bar management or somebody who's doing a lot of the order, or are you taking on all that stuff?
Well, for this first year, because we have so many events on the books for WED, our attention is still being pulled away from the venue because we have to give our clients our best. So any events that we have coming up where we won't be able to be there, our adult daughter, we've been training her for many years. You probably met her at some point, actually. Well, she's an adult now.
She's a human. She's got responsibilities.
And
she's actually,
she's actually at an internship right now at Disney World, studying hospitality and tourism stuff down there and stuff. So anyway, she should be back, and she's going to manage the space when we're not around. But yes, we'll be definitely hiring bartenders, and then we're going to just kind of see how things go. We've got so much experience that we're really used to just going into venues, honestly, and there being no venue staff, and we're running the whole deal anyway, with the exception of catering and stuff, because we will have caterers who come in. The client will book the caterer, and the catering comes in and does that. But, we'll clear tables and stuff like
Well, let's talk about the catering, because we can have a lovely catering conversation
Sure.
here. So what's the plan there? Is it, we obviously, as an organization, fall into a lot of those same pockets where we've got relationship with the venues. Some venues are better than others, and I don't mean that in a negative way. But from a food standpoint, some are just set up better, have better understanding of kind of what our needs are as a caterer. Which I'm assuming is the same thing for photography, DJ, and anything like that. Mm-hmm. They're just better equipped to handle some of these things for these large events. Where are you with that? We've got a lot of great caterers around town. Are you going to put specifications on who can be used and who cannot be used? Or is that kind of up to the bride and the groom? Or
our big one is going to be, it has to be a licensed kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's our big one. We don't want Aunt Rose coming in and, making food and stuff like that.
What if Aunt Rose can cook really, really, really well?
Then she can find a kitchen. Well, for example, we just learned the other day, because we've been busy networking with our neighbors, we found out that Bradley's Home Goods, just around the corner, actually has a licensed catering kitchen that they rent out. So if Aunt Rose wants to book that kitchen to make the food out
Get
of,
a temp license.
by all means,
yep.
She can absolutely do that. So
we just got a call. Oh, gosh, I was in the office Tuesday, and Brand, who runs our catering department, just got this phone call that their caterer didn't have a license and they canceled on them. Their wedding's 4 weeks away.
Oh.
So I mean, in our world, like we're filling up. If not, there's some blackout dates right now that we're full on. And I had a conversation with Brand. I was like, obviously food is what we try to sell, but we really got to be selling our experience, our reliability,
absolutely,
like all of these things that could bring our price point up a little bit higher. But that's everything. I mean, I think a person only has maybe 2 or 3 hosted events a year, like not a ton, right? We're not,
if that, yeah.
So spend the extra $1, get the people the 20 years of wedding experience or the 10 years of food experience. Get those people to be involved with your event, rather than just saving a penny here, saving a penny there, and then a couple things fall through the cracks. Now you get that one shot at that one event, and it just didn't turn out the way that you want it to.
Yeah.
Is the headache worth the money savings.
It's hard.
You know,
It's hard. I mean, trust me, I'm a penny pincher. You know, I'm always trying to save a dime. But when it comes to certain things, it just seems like, you know, you got to spend that extra, or at least do the research and figure out why exactly I'm picking this person over that person.
Yeah, money, time, or or headache. One of the three you're going to have. So.
Well, and that's one kind of unique thing that we're trying to do too that I have never seen as a wedding planner at any other venue. So we're going to have a list of preferred providers. You don't have to use these providers, but our favorite providers. And we're still in the middle of reaching out to everyone, including you.
Oh, okay. That's not why we're here, just so you know.
No, I know.
No,
but we're reaching out to everyone, and I have two questions for them. The first question is, I need to ensure that they are inclusive, that they will not discriminate based on color, race, creed, sexual orientation. All of that is very important to us. We will 100% have an inclusive venue.
Yep.
And then two, we're asking the vendors, and that it's completely optional, if they would be willing to offer those clients who book our venue and work with them some sort of discount or some sort of added incentive, an add-on, something like that. So, for example, Grace Craze, right? Mm-hmm. Fabulous people, by the way, love them. They're offering free when they bring over the charcuterie. They're offering to our clients to set up and make it look pretty for free. Usually that's an additional cost with them. Okay. But they're going to go ahead and do that as an add-on if they're working in our venue.
Gotcha. So I mean, we're not talking 50% off. It could just be something like free delivery or something like that.
Anything that the vendor comes up with. Some of the photographers I've worked with, it's some money off of a print credit, not the actual photography package, things like that. But just to kind of give our clients a little value-added service. We're always looking at things from the client's perspective.
Okay. So, and we've run into some places that do a kickback, and we don't want a kickback. No, we just want
those are shady.
Want somebody to
I don't do that.
Work with our clients and stuff.
We also don't charge, and this is our approach to things. We don't put a service fee on our rates. I hate that as a wedding planner. I'm like, what your price is. Don't hide it in the little subtext. You put it in the total. This is the cost, and then of course you have to add sales tax. I get that. That's the law, but there's no service fees at our venue either. So, not however the caterer wants to handle it. However, photographers want to handle it. Whatever, that's on them. Those are their contracts. But with our services, that's how it is. So.
Have you seen in the wedding world, like, is there, obviously now there's so many options as far as what can be part of your wedding or your, even from your rehearsal all the way down to the after party or the late night food. Are there any areas that like are lacking that, like where, man, there's a big hole here that needs to be filled? I'm not going to DJ would be an example. I mean, I'm not saying that, but more of like, there's just a lack of DJs. Like everybody wants to get married.
Oh,
well, no, I'm not. Right? But you get what I'm saying.
No, yeah, totally.
Man, it just seems like we get all these weddings. They're always asking me the same question, like, where do I find this? And the three people that do it in the state or in the area are always booked.
The one for me as a planner is live musicians, because they kind of come and go. Like, you'll work with somebody who's really great one year and then they've moved on to going and doing something else. And maybe it's because of the artistic nature of the business or something. But I find having super reliable live musicians to be somewhat finicky. But we recently connected with, and I've forgotten his name, at the Lansing Event Organizers Group, and he manages local talent. Angry Entertainment, is that his? Something. Anyway, so we're excited to work with him because he's got those resources.
Okay.
So I was pretty stoked about that.
Videographers are kind of hit or miss. There's more now than there was, but for a long time that was a hard one to get.
Yeah. No, the thing about the wedding industry is everybody seems to think they want to be part of it. So if there's a way to make money doing something with it, people have been pretty clever at figuring it out.
Totally.
So you've got live event painters now. You've got
Caricaturists.
that's been around for a while. The audio guest book. There's a DJ company out in East Michigan that has robots. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
They have these. I'm guessing it's people in robot costumes or something, and they light up and they come to your, and they're on the dance floor. I haven't really looked that much into it, but it's popped up in my feed. I'm like, okay, that's new.
Just can add up quick, huh?
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing with weddings is a lot of people get into weddings because they think they want to be into weddings, and then they realize
On the business side of things.
and on the business side,
Not on the personal side.
there's
Like
good
they
money
get
to be
married
made,
and they,
yeah.
they think it's going to be great. And,
exactly.
you know.
And then they really think there's money in there, and there is. But then they realize after the second or third year that all their friends are going to the lake on Saturday, and they got to
That's
work.
where it's hard.
Yep.
You know, so that's kind of a lot of times there's not a lot of staying power. In
Seasonal job, really. I mean, there's
Exactly.
wedding season, and
Oh, yeah.
you're kind of entrenched.
Well, and Michigan is truly nice in the summer and the fall. And so when everybody's having fun, when his brother's at his lake house, we're sweating at a barn.
Yeah.
We're
yeah.
trying to make everything great for 200 people. So you have to truly love the business to stay in the business. So.
Are there trends that you've seen recently that are pretty cool? That seem like the bang for the buck is, because when I rewind back to early Saddleback days where I would have to try to sell these caterings, and we'd get an inquiry, they'd come in for a tasting, and you guys probably aren't going to agree with this, but I always say, like, listen, when it comes to a reception, I think there's three factors. There's the booze, there's the music, and then there's the food. And then I always go back to what I think about when I'm actually talking about a wedding that I went to 5 years ago or something. I'm only going to recite, was the alcohol free, or was it good, or how did that go? Were people dancing, and how was the food? Now, the bride is so concerned about all these little intricacies within the wedding, which I value. I think they're very important. Venue, a whole thing. But I ultimately think from a guest standpoint, those are really the nuts and the bolts of what people come back to. Now, that's debatable. But that was my pitch, 8 years ago. Is that still kind of it, or not even close?
No, you're not accurate. I'm sorry. Especially with the incredible popularity of Instagram and the cell phones and the selfies. It's become
right?
a very, I don't mean this to sound as harsh as it does, but it's a very narcissistic era that we live in. It's all about trying to present your story to the world and make yourself look cool. And we all do it. Yep. Everybody does it. And so the photos are very, very important to the bride and groom. From your perspective as the guest, I can absolutely see what you're saying, but the guest isn't the one who's booking the services and paying for the contracts.
Totally, yeah.
It's the bride and groom.
Yep.
And so it's going to be the story that they tell. And I have told clients for 2 decades now that you're going to have the caterer say that the most important thing is the food, and the bartender is going to say the most important thing is the free bar, and the DJ is going to be, oh, it's all about the music. And I always tell them none of that's true. The thing that's the most important is your attitude when you come into this. I have done events where a bride and groom have danced in 3 inches of mud, and they had the best time of their life because they were determined to have a good day. And I've had a bride and a groom just have the bride fall apart because the caterer put one wrong thing on the buffet and it ruined her whole day. Mm-hmm. It really, in the end, depends on their attitude and how they approach the day. Everybody else should support that and help them have a great day. But if you go into this day that you've invested all this time and money into, determined to have a great day no matter what, you're going to have a great day. Mm-hmm. It's going to happen.
So is that just kind of leading up to of like making sure all your T's are crossed, all your I's are dotted?
Yeah, absolutely.
Going back through all your routine and
Absolutely.
saying, hey, this is foolproof now. Like, there is no way this... Because I could see how you have sleepless nights leading up to an event like that. I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah. But at a certain point, you have to be like, you know what? It is what it is. Mm-hmm. I've done everything I can possibly do. and we're just going to put it out to fate, and I'm just going to have a good time.
It does seem like I have been to a wedding where it just seemed like, for whatever reason, and I wasn't there obviously in the sense of I knew everything that was going on, but the bride wasn't like that. She was frustrated, and it did. You could kind of feel that energy throughout the room of like, I'm not going to go over and talk to her because she's obviously pissed off.
Right.
She's mad at somebody, and I don't want to hear
it. We're just going to stay away. So, yeah, that's a good point, Lynn. I didn't really think about it as far as the Instagram portion of
It's
which.
all the
Keep
story.
in mind that wasn't around 8 years ago, and I was making my proposal.
No.
But but you're right. Like the donut wall, right? Like look at this selfie snap.
Absolutely.
Like those kinds of little, I don't want to say tricks, but they are those one-off things that I was at this place. They did this. It was awesome, and yeah.
And everybody does. There's a new thing every year, like the donut wall. For another year, it was the champagne wall, and so it's just a matter of what's going to be the next one.
Barbecue wall or something like that. Like, how can we incorporate a wall?
Trying to figure out how that would not look gory.
This is gonna be great at the Halloween party.
Yeah, there you go.
Just a wall of meat.
Yes. No, that's really good insight as far as how impactful that experience is.
Yeah.
It's not just getting together, playing music, having a beer, eating some mac and cheese, which is a good time.
Yeah, I know.
Just not maybe all weddings need to be like that.
Exactly.
The newest trend right now in weddings, actually, the newer industry that we're seeing pop up that's hot this year is what's the content creators. So they're not a photographer, they're not a videographer. It's somebody who follows the typically the bride and or the groom or groom and groom or bride and bride throughout the day, and they've got their phone and they're just capturing snapshots, short videos, and they're creating social media content for the couple to post. Because again, it's about the story. That is what
Interesting.
these couples are very invested in right now. This is the memory I want to have presented to the world and be able to look back on for the rest of my life. So content creators.
So the content creator, are they just documenting it, or are they actually live, like, publishing this
They're
content?
doing it all. I mean, they're doing a variety of things. So they're creating Instagram posts, Facebook posts, reels, feeds, whatever the bride or groom has authorized, and TikToks and all of that fun stuff. Yeah.
What if your 5 followers are going to be at the wedding? Does that have any value at that point? I've never heard of that. That's an interesting one.
It's
But
big.
then I've also done weddings before where the bride, it has made me announce that no one is allowed to post any pictures from the wedding until after this point of the day.
Right.
Because she wanted the first ones to be from her.
Exactly. Because it's
sense.
about controlling that story.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. You want? I mean, this is your day. You
Exactly.
want to have everything.
They
go
should
the way
get
you-
it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I'd be the jerk. I'd be the jerk to snap one and be like, "I'm here. This is actually happening."
And I'd be
then-
the planner walking up to you going,
snagging
put your
that
phone
phone.
away.
You need to delete that. Well, Jeez, we're at a Beyonce concert now. Like, you can't video anything. Ugh. That's an odd one, but that's exciting. So walk me through the expectations. We're hitting the ground running here. Obviously, WED has a full probably list of things they've got to do. That side of the business has to do throughout this season.
This season, yeah. That's
Now
what
you've
we're
got this
focusing on.
venue that's opening up. Where are you at here? Are you trying to do as much as you can within reason, or
Well, the
are you
nice thing
pacing
is
some stuff out?
we ended up getting the venue during off season. So we've been able to, I spend pretty much every day there, So, and we've been able to do a lot of the painting and, that kind of stuff. And, so we've got that, but, so we're just trying to do everything we can before wedding season starts, and then we will, continue on, but we want to be open by April. So,
Okay.
Yeah, our target date is in April. We hope to have an open house for the community one day, and we're going to invite, the entire community. Basically, anybody who hears about it is welcome to come in. There are so many people who are like, I'm so curious about what you're doing in there and what it's going to look like. Everybody wants to know. So everybody's going to be invited to come on by. And then the next day, I'm going to be marketing that a lot to couples who are looking to get married. So,
Okay.
So that we'll be able to just piggyback those. Um, we haven't really started advertising it yet officially, but because of the newspaper reaching out to us and
Fox 47.
and Fox 47 reaching out to us, and because of that exposure, people were like, "I heard you have a venue," so we've been showing it to a few people. We have a few more people who are coming in to check it out. We're just asking that everybody has a little patience for the sawdust because, we're still remodeling. But we already have one booking, which is fabulous.
Good.
And yeah, so we're just, we expect it's going to be probably a little bit overwhelming when we actually officially start advertising it.
Oh, I'm
so
sure.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, as things evolve too, I assume it's kind of like a probably 2-year gauntlet where somebody could be looking now for 27 easily.
Absolutely.
And so now you're kind of juggling all sides of it. I got this person who's getting married in 6 months that this just seems to work. So now we got to figure all this stuff out.
Right.
While the person from 27's coming in going, we just got engaged. So you got to keep them kind of going along. And it seems like a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what we already do, though. So it's really stuff we're comfortable with. So, yeah.
And we knew that this summer coming up was going to be insane because we still have work that's on the books from WED, and then we're trying to bring in stuff for Copper Moon. And so there's going to be, just a lot of insanity for this summer and probably half of next. But
how'd you come up with the name Copper Moon?
We kind of always wanted something industrial. So that's kind of where we came up with the copper. And to be honest, the building's blue. So we're kind of thinking moon, blue. And I really didn't want to paint the whole thing. So I like the color too. So
laziness. I just didn't want to paint it.
I mentioned
a lot
copper.
Of real estate.
I mentioned copper because he's a steampunk DJ as well.
Okay.
And copper is very big in the steampunk world. And then first it was copper and clover. And I don't know, that just felt a little pedestrian to us. And then I think we may have looked it up online to make sure, and I think somebody else was called Copper and Clover. And then, like you said, the color of the building and
plus moon romantic.
Is romantic, but not overly feminine, So, yeah, we're just trying to pick something that sounds cool, really.
I actually really like that name. We were talking about some decor inside of the restaurants and using like copper pots and pans and stuff. And I started looking into them, how expensive they are. I was like, holy shit, how are they going to do copper anywhere? Like, this seems like outrageous. So
you can get a metal die that will dye stainless steel copper. I've been doing my research.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm on the spray paint thing. Like, I was like the Rust-Oleum or something as like metallic spray paint. But
we had a metal guy in, and he came in and gave us some advice because I don't know if you remember the sinks in Spiral, but they're really cool. They're all the custom made stainless steel, the spirals, and we're trying to maintain some of the old pieces of the Spiral because parts of it were beautiful and fit. And so we're just going to change some of the stainless into copper, and it'll be really cool.
That will be cool.
Yeah.
I should be looking for a die then.
Yeah.
Die.
I can send you the link.
This is a good trade secret right now.
The Rust-Oleum hammered copper, though, don't get me wrong, that's good stuff. I mean, but
if it's exposed to water, you want to use the dye.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Are you going to do outdoor events? The one event that we did there was in the parking lot, and obviously they had stuff going on inside, but you're right, it's a big parking lot. It seems like you could have some overflow if you needed it. If you really had to want that huge Halloween bash, you could do it.
I mean, if need be. One thing is we are actually booked through WED during Pride Festival. Yeah. So we've reached out to the organizers, and we're like, here's the parking lot. It's yours.
Oh, nice.
So I think they're putting food trucks up and down that street. So they're looking at maybe putting like picnic tables or that kind of stuff in there. So.
And we're giving their staff access to the building so they have a nice, cool place to go cool off their workers.
That's awesome.
But yeah, we definitely want to support Pride Festival, and we were very sad when we realized it was going to be the same weekend. We have to be out of town for this other wedding.
I'm sure that's going to be, as you move forward, a big part of the space.
And we want it to
really
be
cool. There.
Yeah,
that's
for
awesome.
Sure.
is there a lot of other redevelopment happening in Old Town? Anything? Now that you're part of that community, it's got to be bustling.
Well, Sweet Custom Jewelry is taking over the old Grid arcade.
Okay.
And they're
sad to
doing
see
really
that one
well.
go.
They're awesome. They're another one of our preferred vendors. They're a really great couple. I'm not sure what else is going
That's all that's going on right now that we've seen.
in Old Town.
So, but I mean, we're kind of stuck on the back end, and I pull into the parking lot and I walk inside and I go to work.
Yeah.
So,
But most of Old Town, most of the spots are filled.
yeah, pretty much. So I
There's a
mean,
ton of vacancy over there.
Yeah.
but I mean, obviously, when Sweet moves into the Grid, where the Grid was, then
that one.
their space will be open. So, we'll see
Although
what
we
goes in
don't
there.
know, it might already be leased.
Yeah,
I mean,
it might.
Samantha would know that stuff. But yeah. So.
Yeah, we joined the Old Town Association.
Commercial Association.
Yeah.
Super great group of people.
Yep.
So it's been really nice.
Yeah, and we were in the Rio one, and it's just good because it seems like in those small communities, the business owners are just a little bit more active. They
Yeah.
take a little bit more pride in what they do. They want to really impactfully take care of their surroundings.
Absolutely.
For better or worse. So that's cool. It's got to be a good spot over there. So what do people do as we move forward? What's the best way? I know you just started kind of booking some stuff. Should they go to the WED site? Should they go to the Copper Moon site? How should they learn more about the building, about what you're trying to do, get a walkthrough, anything like that?
Well, the Copper Moon site is under development. I mean, it's up, but it's still needing quite a lot of information. So I'm working on that, and I've been talking to some people, some paid professionals about trying to help me out with the SEO and all of that stuff. But for right now, they could reach out to WED or Copper Moon. I've got emails for both of them. And just ask me for the brochure. The brochure is probably the thing that's most developed at this point.
Okay.
And just have a call with me. And like Matt said, we are there pretty much every single day. And we are being super flexible. People can come by during the day, evening, weekends, whatever works for them. And
See
we're
the
happy
venue.
to show it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And
right
we
now, as
just
long
kind of
as
walk them through the whole thing.
you're all right with sawdust, I mean, 'cause
Yeah.
it is a construction zone right now. So
Yeah, this weekend they're coming through when we're going to have a scissor lift in there and a whole lot of paint. So,
It's all right. I mean, honestly, some of that imagination is probably good. I assume that's what a bride and groom does anyways.
Sure.
Walks in and it's kind of like, what can we make this? How can we make this our space?
Yeah.
mhm.
And that's one of the other things that we've always, like, going in to do an event, we're like, oh, it'd be so cool to do this, but we only have this amount of time. And the nice thing with our space is we can go in and we can do it over a week.
Mhm.
So we can do kind of those big crazy dreams that we always had to do, and we have the time now to do it. So
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I definitely know the creative power and just the experience is going to lead to really great things. And like, just through this conversation, I've already like eye rolled to myself of like, yeah, that's why you'd hire a wedding professional and not try to do it on your own. Like, duh. Like it all starts to make sense of, if I look at food and I say this is what I do really well, I try to stay in that lane.
Mhm.
And I think weddings, as a whole, it's the same thing. You have experience. I think just by seeing so many of them, like I can't imagine the wedding stories that you have of
Oh,
like
yeah.
So
good,
many.
bad, and ugly. It's a complicated thing, especially for somebody who's never done it.
Right.
So I think this is going to be great for the area. I'm super happy for you guys. I know how long you've been looking for this and how long it's been in the process, and I couldn't think of a better location and venue for it, to be honest with you.
yeah.
Like it seems like that's going to be the space. Always bustling. It's a great area of Lansing where it can be attractive for that Grand Rapids couple to come into town and see this really cool nook of Lansing's, and it's a home run in my opinion. It's not in some deserted area where you're trying. I think the business will come to you. I don't kind of wrap up. Did you guys have any thoughts or anything else you guys want to go over?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so the best way to reach out to you is to go to the WED website or soon to be Copper Moon website and just kind of put in an inquiry in there.
Yep, it's wedmi.com or coppermooneventspace.com.
Okay, Facebook.
We're on Facebook as well, Instagram, but I don't have a lot on there. TikTok, I'm trying to get all of that stuff
No, I mean,
organized.
it's a startup business. You're
Yeah.
painting ceilings. You don't necessarily need to be, clicking pictures all the time. It's tough. Well, we look forward to being a part of this, to seeing how you grow. I'd love to do it again after a couple events go through there, so you can tell us the good, bad, and ugly stories. But as we push forward, we hope to see some traffic on that page and keep us up to date as far as your progress goes.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Matt.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.